What is up, everyone? It's us, the crew of the USS Iskandar, bringing you awkward energy. Tonight, the watchword is awkward energy. Woo! Woo!
It didn't
I
need
wasn't
to be.
frozen. I thought someone might think I was frozen. I wasn't.
No,
I
I
could
just
just hold
thought
my
you.
arms up for a real long time.
I thought you were
Good
doing
job.
awkward energy. I thought you were just
Yeah,
following.
that's what I
I
thought.
was like, great. This is what we wanted all
Do a
along.
turtle.
all awkward all the time. You're watching Star Trek Iskandar.
Welcome to this new adventure for the crew of the Iskandar titled Hysteresis. What does it mean? Nobody knows. Literally no one. Fun, exciting words and other. That being said, hi everyone. If you've missed all of our adventures up until this point, we are the crew of the USS Iskandar. We are Mike, Izzy, Emily, and Kath, and we come here ostensibly every Tuesday, except for some Tuesdays, to bring you your dose of real play Star Trek goodness. We run using the Fate system because it's good. And you can put that on the box. Fate Core writers, Fate Core, it's good. This asshole. And we hot seat GM who is in charge. So whilst normally they are a member of the crew for this adventure, Emily Room, our engineer and hotshot pilot, will also be our storyteller. So that'll be fun. That sounded really sarcastic. I'm really sorry. I meant like that'll be a
Oh, good.
Oh, good.
Oh,
They're
good.
running. Well, that's gonna be fun.
Oh,
Yeah, you guys are gonna have fun.
Yay.
It's gonna be
Risk
good.
or threat?
Yes.
Okay.
Yay. So it'll be fun, and that's a threat. Cool. So yeah, if you've not seen us up until this point, we have lots of adventures. We run in the world of the post-Dominion War, and we have a great time. You can see images of our characters below us in tiny, and also our vibes going on with our character sheets that cycle through that you can see if I point at them. They are here somewhere. I think based
Many
on
of
where
them
I
are
am,
wrong.
I think based on where I am, I'm going Roomba. It's Emily. Look up
It's
there.
me. I'm the character sheet now.
Roomba.
It's true. We all look like Emily. All the characters, every single one, just clones of Emily.
Yeah.
So that's fun. You didn't know that, did you?
This was the final outcome of Adam Strange's terrible choice.
Yeah. It manifested in reality, and
We call it Adam forming. And it will change Starfleet forever.
Call it a damn shame. Oh,
that's good. That's a good
right,
one.
So everyone, I'm not well. Forgive me. Or don't. Fuck you if you don't forgive me. I'm ill, you bastards. So what is it? Introduce ourselves, abuse the audience,
The abused Mike.
Oh yeah, Mike's a racist. We're sorry about him. We can't help it. That's just, you know, this fucking guy. We're just like, why is he here? Because we like him, we keep him around. Plus, he's our token, you know, guy. It just feels like we'd get cancelled by the nerd crowd if we didn't have a white guy on our show. You know, that no one wants to see a bunch of non-guys dicking about in space. Mike, stop staring at me. That being said, let me know if there's anything else you need me to do. Let me know if there's someone in your life you want me to hurl abuse at, and I'll do it.
That is not what this show is here for. We'd like to stress.
We play Star Trek.
Play Star Trek, and sometimes hurl abuse at Mike.
We're not just
so-
here like a subscription service so Izzy can neg the people in your life.
That is a separate service and not one that we, the crew of the USS Iskandar, offer.
That's on my OnlyFans. It you trash you.
Give us
Or I
money
will-
on Patreon.
Give us money on Patreon, and I might trash you. Yeah, follow us at patreon.com/ityoukrew. It's a place where some abuse might be hurled. You don't know. Also, I guess whilst I hand over to our lovely storyteller Emily, just hurl abuse at Mike in the chat for a bit. He deserves it. and it'll help keep him on his toes. The most creative insult wins a prize. The prize is Kath's disdain.
Wait, no, surely I'd approve.
Kath's approval and disdain.
Yeah, that's fair.
That being said, and by that I mean literally nothing to do with Star Trek, I'm going to hand over to Emily Room, who's going to make more Star Trek happen than I did just now. Off you go, Roomba.
So, yeah, we're going to do Star Trek now. If you have joined us for the Izzy Abuses People session, I'm sorry, that's on Wednesdays, not on Tuesdays. You're here a day early, but, you know, stick around for the Star Treks. Before we get going with this episode, can I get all of you to make some dice rolls?
Amazing.
What?
Yes.
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 We are
Fuck out of you.
starting with dice rolls. I want will saves from all of you.
All of the characters?
three of me?
All three of you, Kath, all two of you, Mike, and all two of you, Izzy.
Okay.
Well, Casey's dead.
Christ on sale.
Will saves, yes. Just get them.
Okay,
pen
I'm
and
gonna write
paper
these
so we can
down
actually
as I
write this shit
go.
Yep, we are kicking off with mechanics early.
Okay.
Nothing bad will happen, it's fine.
Darl's dead. I don't have functional Oh,
Reyes is-
God.
Reyes
That's
is fucking
worse.
amazing.
Yes.
Well, it's easy to remember.
oh, okay. Caleb Elrod has really good will. He has the best will of any of my characters.
Kalev Elrad
He just
Hunter.
critically failed.
Oh, fuck.
Get
Maybe-
fucked,
Maybe you,
Kalev.
maybe you should re-roll that. If you have goodwill, like
I have not.
I don't know. Do you want to re-roll that?
No.
Or are you going to save that for later consequences?
Yeah, I'm gonna embrace whatever the fuck's going on here.
I have the most polarized results for my two characters. I guess,
Okay.
Roomba, do you want to start collecting results?
Yeah. Has everybody done their rolling for all of their shits? So, let's start with Izzy.
Lieutenant Commander Talandra got a +5.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Arkady Burov also critically failed and got a -4.
-5.
A -5.
Yeah,
Wait,
-5. I checked what your will scores were before I did this. Kath.
So Lieutenant Reyes got a 6.
Nice.
Woo, girl bosses.
Nice.
Captain Athan -1.
Mike just died. Mike's just gone.
We haven't got to Mike yet.
No,
And
as in he's gone.
Caleb
Oh, yeah, fuck, he's dead.
Caleb Elrad with his critical fail got a -3.
Ooh.
So Reyes rolled well. The other two rolled garbage.
Could have rolled better. Could have rolled better. Mike, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
We can hear
Yes.
you. We can't see you.
Yeah,
but we
I
can
don't know.
hear you.
I'm trying to fix that. Both of my characters got a 0.
Okay.
It's nice.
He, like fucking Reyes and Talandra running this ship.
I look forward to the sessions of girl bosses being bosses.
Okay. Hold fire just a sec.
That's statistically unlikely.
Plus- Plus Burov and Elrad in the critical fail camp. That's very unlikely.
That's-
I love it.
Yes.
Sending out responses. And
It was sponsored by X. Picking up webcam for no. Pizza.
I liked that was a reassuring message. Thank you, Roomba. That's also a reassuring message. Thank you, Roomba.
Those are all reassuring messages, but also reminded me of the fact that the last thing you sent me were pictures of kittens.
you're welcome.
Yeah.
Have kittens and reassuring messages.
I only have a response for Casey.
Yeah, Zal's dead.
You now have a response for Zal.
Yeah, okay,
I
thank
love
you.
that. I have no idea why the last message I sent to Roomba was, especially given that they'll go and listen to the New Romantics and watch Game of Thrones.
I think that was the wine NBs being wine NBs.
Yeah, the wine MPs are very into vintage culture.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, so with that, it is stardate 57394.24, and it is a new day on the Iskandar. The ship is on course for Starbase 328 to pick up scientific supplies to courier to another outpost, and is currently carrying non-urgent medical supplies for that starbase. You're being a glorified postie at the minute. Isn't that fun?
Can I speak for Captain Athan when I say, hooray?
The Iskandar is currently cruising past the 31 Cygni system and set to arrive at the starbase in about 3 days. Everything is fairly quiet. It is early morning, probably about 7. So let's start with, let's go with the extremes of the will save results. What are people doing this morning? Burov or Reyes, one of you's kick off. Give us a flavour of morning routine as we change over from the night watch to regular day shift with main characters.
I feel like Reyes is the sort of person who is so not a morning person that she has to go to like some serious extremes to wake up. Like, this is someone who has instructed the computer and then encoded the computer so that she can't stop it from doing this, of waking her up with very loud rock music, which will not shut up. So that's going on for 10 minutes. First shot is her stumbling out of the bedroom, if I forget it. I don't think even think it would be a separate bedroom in a Intrepid class, but stumbling around. There's so much hair. There might be a small person in there. Just like zombie.
But at the moment, there's just this shambling mass of hair.
Trying to get some coffee. A montage of her getting presentable for a given value thereof. And probably like there's a lot of monosyllabic getting reports from once in engineering of like, they'll know by now. It will have been a hard learned lesson of the whoever the night shift was. I feel like this is something Strange has definitely had at one point, if not exactly now, of learning how to update Lieutenant Reyes, because she doesn't want to have to formulate the full question until that caffeine properly kicks in, which isn't for another 15 minutes, half an hour. So there's a lot of blah 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 blah. It's a rough morning for everybody, and it's her own fault.
Yeah. Coffee goes in, maths comes out after a couple of coffees.
Yes.
I sympathise. Burov.
I like to think that the filmmaking at the start of this of this episode is very similarly mirrored. So Reyes wakes up to like pounding rock music and the look of, oh Jesus Christ, all is woe. Burov, who loves dubstep, as we know, wakes up also to incredibly loud music and just wakes up with a kind of and like goes through their morning routine like quite bouncily. They have a gently involved skincare process. They're putting on their uniform. They're like, they do the thing where they like pull a curl out of the front of their hair because their hair's gotten a bit longer and curlier, and they just kind of like going through their room with all the idiosyncrasies of like having a cup of tea on the go, sending a little message, looking at fun things, having their kind of gently aesthetic room around them, and like walking with an actual bounce in their step to sick bay, and is like, "Good morning, hello, let me help you with that. What's going on over here?" There's one person who's in for like a, there was an injury, someone sprained their ankle, and they're literally just spending 20 minutes with the regenerator on their foot, and it's just like, it's a proper bedside manner. Oh, what's happened to you today? Oh, what a start to your morning. Well, at least you're going to have the morning off until lunchtime. I'll be sure to let Lieutenant Casey know. How did you sprain your ankle in astrometrics again? And like having a cup of coffee, having a natter with Dr. Light, whose responses will be, "Yes, doctor. I understand, doctor. Good morning to you also, doctor." And like eventually, whereas Reyes settles into sort of the, "I'm awake, this is good," Arcady sits at their desk, puts their tea down, just goes,
Never hated Arcady Burov more.
Yeah, I'm loving this contrast between these two. I feel like I've chosen the perfect two to kick us off with. Mike, do you want to go with Zol or Casey? Let's get one of yours before we.
I'll do Casey. I think he
Yeah, what's
is.
a sad boy's morning routine?
I'm gonna break this down for you.
What's the music?
He's the music. No, it is complete ambience. He's an early riser. He's already done a lot of his morning routine, so he's taking a quick 45 minutes on the holodeck, engaging in. I think it's probably, this is the kind of thing where it's filmed on location, and so it's some like national park in America or something, and he is engaging in a spot of rock climbing. So it's like the cut off for the music, just kind of wind rushing, bird song. He's quite exerted by the time he gets to the top, and the most notable thing is he will pull out a pad and check his time, and the time will be a deterioration from the last one, and the one before it, and the one before it.
Oh no, you horrible person.
Mm-hmm.
And then Talandra shows up with rocket boots, because that's what happens when people try to climb national park mountains in Star Trek.
Yep. Talandra zooms past, looks at the pad, raises an eyebrow, says nothing, and zooms off.
I think it's more like a. I know we're not actually painting the picture of Rocket Boot Talandra, but just to ground that moment, like hard breathing, checks his time, and then it's a very kind of partially frustrated, partially defeated, tossing the pad down, calling out for the simulation to end, and makes his way to get changed to go on duty.
Oh no. Okay. Unless do you want to do, if anybody wants scenes for any of the other characters?
I think literally the only thing which really needs specifying for Athan is, which lets us know how deep her despair/work fixation has become, is that there is now a portion of her ready room which is a treadmill desk, like a standing desk with the walking bit, which she can use for some of her mornings, so she can work and like get some, like it's that bad. That's in a tidy little corner. It folds away, I think, so it's not like there constantly, this fucking treadmill desk, but there's a treadmill desk. It's not a good sign.
That's not a good sign. That's really not. Cool. Well, with that little montage of people's mornings, varying flavors of bounce and despair from both Athan and Casey, we'll move forward in the day. It is fairly quiet. There isn't exactly anything you need to be doing. The 31 Cygni system is quite nice as a star system. It's an interesting binary star, so there are things that you could look at, but it is also quite, well known and well studied, so you're not exactly going to get much new things out of it.
By God, we are going to scan it, and Casey is going to have it analyzed, even if this is only an exercise for the science department, possibly framed as this is some, further training for him as a department head, as an officer, to, allocate out. We have let's use the fact that we know what the end result should be as a means of gauging and assessing the team and its analytical skills and calibrating our astrometric sensors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
All right. Casey, you've been given a task.
It's a
Best get
one.
analyzing, I guess.
Best get analyzing. Give us a roll.
Is this ops?
I think I'm gonna make it ops, given that it is just kind of, you're scanning. You're not exactly doing science here. You're scanning a thing that people already know about.
I got a 3.
A 3.
That's good.
That is good. That's better than your save earlier. Or, well, it's not a will save, is it? Because it's not that, but yeah. Might as well be. Yeah. You have in front of you scans of a binary star system. There's, quite an interesting amount of contrast between these two stars. One of them is, quite large and blue and hot, and the other is much smaller and much cooler, more of a kind of a red color to it. But there's a very kind of even rotational period for the binary star system. All of this matches up pretty well with the fairly well recorded data on the 31 Cygni system. But with a 3, you can get, there is actually another ship in the area.
Interesting.
Another Starfleet vessel.
I will read out kind of the major details of the analysis in the order that I suspect Captain Athan would prefer it to be presented, trying to take a proactive approach as someone that wants to show his worthiness of his command position, but then also will tack on the end. I'm detecting signs of another Starfleet vessel in the area.
Tharn is going to quickly check on her pad and with the systems. Is there supposed to be another? Is there an obvious? Oh yeah, that should be the USS blah blah blah.
There's nothing on your records that say there should be,
okay. But it's not. It's weird inherently.
It doesn't seem that strange. But yeah, the ship you get is the USS Krasnikov. It's another Intrepid class, and they're just passing through, and happen to be taking this route.
Sure. Very well, proceed. Hassan isn't gonna, quiz another ship going.
They'll be like, what are you doing here?
What are you doing here?
No, we're not.
Does command hate you too?
Grand. So yeah, doing those checks. The Iskandar kind of isn't going super fast. It's kind of steady cruising speed, so it's still kind of within the vicinity of this system by the time you get to about midday-ish. And then this is probably going to be Kowalski who picks this up, because that's how all plot gets delivered.
Yes, Kowalski is that's what Kowalski's here for.
That's what Kowalski's here for. I was thinking, can I give it to one of you lot? But no, unfortunately it's a Kowalski thing. Captain, seem to be picking up an energy signature coming this way quite quickly.
Ray shields, yellow alert. Get me a scan. What is this?
And yep, so yellow alert gets raised. Casey presumably is going to be the one doing this, going to do the scan of this energy signature that's coming this way.
Or are you talking to your dog? Oh, it's just drop can like fly to. This energy wave is taking out everyone. Sunny.
Okay. Hold on.
Oh, are we about to get a treat?
No, it's. I'm
Have
trying to get my
fireworks
camera
started or
working.
something. Michael?
I unplugged my microphone. That's why that stopped.
Right. We were thinking, oh, fuck, he's
There we
dead.
go.
Oh,
There we go.
I'm okay. I really thought that you were about to like put the camera back on and Sunny was going to be in that chair.
I
Like,
was
thought
hoping he would
that-
be.
Yes.
Yes, the boy. The energy signature turns Casey into a dog. Everything is
A
faster.
very, very good boy. Yes, hello.
Who's a good boy?
Who's a good
Who's a
boy?
good boy?
He's a good boy.
What am I rolling?
Well, you would be rolling a science check. However, at about the point where you're about to start scanning, the energy wave hits,
Okay.
and the Iskandar is rocked by it. Oh no! This isn't just a little Star Trek shuffle here. People are getting thrown across the floor by this one.
This is why we need the seatbelts.
This isn't a rock in your seat job. This is a fall out your seat and roll across the floor job for the actors involved in this scene. Whilst the camera isn't just doing this, it's getting chucked about.
We go flying.
You do.
Is that?
I was just saying, Izzy, what do you need catching up on here?
Yes.
Because we did kind of proceed without you. a bit.
Yeah, well, it's okay. When I left, Casey was doing something boring with science, and when I returned, we were getting thrown across the room. So I blame Sam, and we'll be taking no further questions.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. The Iskandar has been hit by a massive energy wave.
We got about that far before it hit us.
How do you react?
I go flying.
Yeah, fall just on my ass,
Yeah.
depending on where I am. I mean, Burov's at their desk, so they probably just go, whoa. But like, given what I know about Star Trek, Talandra probably lurches to the wall.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Strong. Good shout. Yes.
Good. Yeah, that.
I was
Very, very-
walking, and now the lurching, and the wall is my buddy.
Yeah, yeah. Tharn will pick herself up and, in the grand tradition of vague but important demands, will say, report.
Okay, who's reporting first?
This is a Zal job. I need to get a.
It's either of you, frankly.
Yeah.
It's either like what's out there or what's in here.
Given that we've been hit by a ship, I think Zal will go first
No,
with a
we've been hit by an
damage.
energy
No,
wave.
energy-
Sorry,
energy wave.
I meant energy. I don't hit as a ship. The ship
Yeah,
was hit.
as a ship. The ship has been hit. Correct.
We-
For
the
the
ship.
context, after lurching, I guess Talandra is making her way firmly to the bridge and will arrive whenever is deemed appropriate.
Yep. Come in whenever you like.
First of all, yeah, can I get a damage report on the Iskandar?
Okay. It's not good. That
Fuck.
couple of like your shields are like that you had put up before this hit. You ain't got shields anymore. They are fucked and gone. No hull breaches that you're aware of, but it's a bit of a close thing on that. The hull is damaged where the wave of energy has pulsed through the body of the ship. Injuries, yes, there are many. No casualty reports beyond that as of yet, but that information is kind of still filtering in.
Okay, so the report is shields down, minor hull damage at Dex 15, a runoff of the numbers of reported casualties.
Census picking up anything out there?
Casey will boot buttons.
Give us a science boy roll.
And all the origin of that energy wave.
Science. That's a 6.
Cool. Yeah, you can get quite a lot of information for a 6.
Oh, forgive me, no, a 4.
Oh, you don't.
That's only great.
Yeah, it's only great. You don't get a hell of a lot of information. You just get a lot of information instead. Yeah, so like sensors are a bit damaged from this. So you can see that there are gaps in the information that you're getting, but from the rest you can kind of put things together and extrapolate where needed. The pulse of energy that's just gone through the ship, it's kind of like if a warp core had exploded, but more so. It's that kind of energy. It's energy from what looks like a matter around to matter explosion, but more intense.
I see.
And also with a 4, you'll get this as well. You also get signs that there is tachyon energy involved in this explosion as well, which might be the factor that's intensified this matter around to matter explosion. As for direction, it's from back the way you came. That came from behind you, from near the star system that you just passed.
What goes in? Multiple sensor errors, but what I'm picking up is that the energy pulse not too reminiscent of a warp or breach. I'm detecting trace amounts of tachyon energy in amongst it. It seems to have come from our aft.
What are the readings from our 31 Sigma system? Is there any sign of the Krasnikov?
No. There is no. Well, no. There's not strictly no sign of the Krasnikov. There's bits.
Captain, the correct was it Krasnikov?
Krasnikov.
Krasnikov has been destroyed.
Bring us about, get us a heading. Is it dangerous for us to approach?
From the science results, it looks like there's nothing else happening with that. But Kantos goes to attempt to bring you about and says,
That seemed like a really good idea if this is happening in the chamber.
yeah. Oh, stand back. Stand back.
Back.
Back again.
We back.
Can't promise it won't crash again.
What's going on?
You know, my USB drivers keep crashing.
Back again. Iskandar back. Tell
Oh.
our friend.
So Yeah, down in engineering, the warp core is in danger of overheating. Now you don't want to just
overheating's fairly mild. Like, meltdown is probably a better word for what's
okay.
kind
Are
of.
we at full on like I need to consider? Obviously, I'm not going to immediately eject the warp core, but are we in a situation where that should be something which should still be considered as an option?
Engineering roll.
That's +1 on the dice, so that's a shitload.
That's going to be
That's a
6 then?
6. Yes.
Okay, so the options as you see it. You could attempt to fix this. There are things that you could do. You could increase the amount of coolant that's going through. Look at the control rods, change the matter and antimatter flow, all this kind of stuff. If you work now and extremely fast,
Reyes is then,
but you're going to have to be, not put a toe wrong. Otherwise, this blows.
Reyes is still in that starting engineer, so she is going to absolutely go with, we are going to, all right, we need to reduce the flow of matter injection, we need to reduce the flow of antimatter injection and start flying some coolant throughout all of this. Let's bring this thing down, and I want Strange, get over there right to the ejection, and if I say that we've got to vent this thing, we've got to kick this thing out.
Yes, Chief. And he just goes.
Yeah.
Because he's like, oh, like this is every chief engineer's worst nightmare in a lot of ways. Like, and to paint a visual picture of this, engineering is screwed looking. Like there are lights are like flickering. There's steam coming out of something. As we went into that scene, there were some sparks still coming out of consoles. And at least one engineer on the floor looking a bit scorched. It is a mess.
Yeah, and then Reyes will go to personally supervise the most delicate part of this, which is going to be the synchronizing the reduction of flow of both matter and antimatter simultaneously, because you don't want to get that balance wrong. So that is that is the bit which she is going to look to try to, because you don't switch a warp core off. So you've just got to start powering it down slowly. And that is the bit she is going to rush towards to supervise personally. Also is going to hit the... No, actually, there's no fucking point of trying to get non-essential personnel out of engineering. If this goes wrong, everyone's dead. So, like, being in engineering or not isn't the problem. We don't have a coolant leak or anything.
No minimum safe distance.
Yeah. I'm sure somewhere like an automated ping will like head off for the bridge, but she's not fucking... I have work to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, heading for the injection coils to deal with that.
Okay. I'm going to assume that all of the information of, no, really, the warp core's on fire, that's just going to get automatically relayed to the bridge. So everybody is aware that the warp core's in meltdown. How's that news go down on the bridge? Let's
fuck.
I feel like Talandra's probably coming to the bridge at this.
I think that the scene probably starts with the door opening and Talandra striding in.
Yeah. This is like a good dramatic point. Talandra comes in as the news arrives on the bridge.
Commander, we've been struck by an energy wave, and whatever that's done as the damage to the ship is getting us at risk of a warp core meltdown. Lieutenant Reyes is dealing with the situation.
Understood, Captain.
Stand by, make an evacuation protocol ready, but I think we have to trust our engineers.
Talandra will begin working on instructions for prepping all non-essential personnel for evacuation.
Not giving the order yet. And again, if it goes wrong, we're all dead. So evacuating, not that much use, but it's a good thing to keep people doing and busy.
But since if we needed to evacuate and we had like a minute's time, we'd rather have all the evacuation protocols ready to go than like, oh, guess we better get started on that then.
Yeah.
Also,
absolutely.
this is literally a thing the first officer is supposed to do in a situation.
Yep.
And Lieutenant Casey continues scanning the situation, the vicinity of the Krasnikov. Anything that we find out about what happened to them might be of timely use.
Yes, Commander, Captain.
How fucking dare you!
Jump up, bash his head in the console. Boy!
Okay. Who to pick on next for trying to deal with this crisis?
Got a really bad feeling about what this plot's about to be.
Don't know what you mean. Let's pick on the science boy next. Let's keep this rolling at a fair speed, I think.
Cool.
Science boy. Give us another science. Not a high bar on this one, given that you've already done fairly well, so it's basically just don't fail.
I got 4 again.
No, that's not a fail. Yeah, so as I said earlier, the sensors on the Iskandar are kind of fried by the shockwave that's just gone through them. So you're working with quite limited resources on this. But given that you've got the point of the Krasnikov's exploded, that feels like a good starting point for trying to gather some more information. You take the sensors that the Iskandar's got, you focus in on the Krasnikov to try and ascertain something about what's happened to them. Tracing back from the energy wave that's gone through the Iskandar and following that source back, the Krasnikov looks like it was the source of the explosion. It looks like the Krasnikov went up, and yet somehow the amount of energy that came out of their warp core blowing up was enough to do this to the Iskandar.
I will report that along the lines of the origin of the explosion was a Krasnikov. This is all residual excess energy emanated from their warp core.
That's significant. Keep scanning for any background radiation, any ambient situations which might have caused their warp core to go into meltdown. We need to make sure if there is anything atmospheric which the engineers might need to take into account.
Yes, Captain.
Speaking of the engineers, let's bounce back to engineering. Lieutenant Reyes.
We're getting way too high plasma flow, aren't we? This is not going well.
Yeah,
Everything that I am doing is
this is not going well at all. If it's a coolant problem, you cannot get enough coolant to get in there to keep it at a sensible temperature. If it's antimatter regulation is the problem, you can't work out what the fine point is to get it to stop accelerating.
She brings up like a few more, just a quick screen to look at the electromagnetic fields, which are regulating everything down there, like looks at a huge feed of data coming in. And there is a moment where she's like, maybe I can recalibrate something here, and then stops, takes a step back, looks at this humming mess of a warp core.
It's not even a humming anymore. It's gone from a hum to a sharp whine that is increasing in pitch and volume.
She turns and starts heading towards Strange, but she doesn't, wait until she gets there. Ejector.
Yes, Chief. And he goes to slam the button, but at the point that Strange's hand touches the button in engineering, there is a blinding white light. We pull out from the Iskandar and see that blinding white light going through the whole of the ship. We see a beautiful, bright sphere of flame as the Iskandar is destroyed. Can everyone make me a will check?
Will check dead. For all three again?
All three again. Everybody's characters again, please. Okay. Mike, we'll start with you.
Casey got a 7.
What?
Yeah.
How? Oh no, it's fine. You can do that.
Your will is actually very good.
Your will's actually very good. Sorry, I was thinking of somebody else. That's fine.
Zal got -1.
Zal got -1. Okie dokie.
The himbo, he no think good.
The himbo no think good. Is he?
Got 5.
5 again. Okay.
Yeah. And Arcady got -2.
Okay. And Calf.
San got +5.
Oh.
Ray has got -1.
-1. Okay.
And
Elrad?
Elrad got +1.
Okay. All right. Bear with while I send your results.
Need to start thinking. I'm going to need to start thinking real hard about what is actually the loud music that Reyes wakes up to, because I'm feeling like that's going to be like part of the musical cue as eventually the montage gets quicker and quicker.
Don't know what you mean.
Eventually it becomes a rock music dubstep mashup.
Right, okay. Talandra doesn't get any of those results. Who gets those results? That is... Oh, just Elrad.
When I say called it, I mean that out of absolute delight, which was only exacerbated by, now that I've made this prediction, I'm going to go Google a particular name that's been popping up, which has made me go, oh, double no. I'm definitely right.
This is why I put these Easter eggs in.
Yeah.
So that, like, all my plots are Googleable in advance,
Yes.
or like as soon as you got the ship names. Basically.
Yes.
I should probably stop doing that. But
Yes,
I'm
but the
not
problem
gonna
is,
'cause
don't
it's
worry,
fun.
Emily. I don't assume that I'm actually going to understand the science that you're referencing.
No, I don't.
Part of my brain is now buzzing because I've got a very strong mental image of someone in a show waking up to Men at Work's Ain't Nothing Gonna Hold Me Down. I can't place what that was. That's gonna be the kind of thing I wake up in the middle of the night of. Anyway, that's my pitch for.
It's good to know. Oh, that's sending things to Izzy again.
Yay! Just for Izzy.
More
Nope.
news.
More news. You also know what Mike knows. Mike does not get to know what Mike knows.
Makes sense.
Good work,
Zal.
Zal.
Zal, you
Keep it
rolled
up.
so badly, you don't get to know anything. Burov knows what you know.
Zal, you're going in the opposite way. You don't know what yesterday was.
I'm failing so hard. Things that have already happened are being erased.
Who's Zal?
Don't know. Who? I don't think that's a real person. I don't think anybody has ever existed called Zal. Okay. So, just pull up. Where's it gone? Where's it gone? Where's it gone? It is stardate 57394.24, and it's a new day on the Iskandar.
You are a horrible goose.
The ship is on course for Starbase 328 to pick up scientific supplies to courier to another outpost, and currently carrying non-urgent medical supplies for the Starbase itself. You're being a glorified postie. The Iskandar is currently cruising past the 31 Cygni system, and you're set to arrive at the Starbase in about 3 days.
Think I speak
Everything
for Captain
is
Athan when I say
fairly quiet.
hooray.
I'm not sorry.
I love it. No,
And
it's
I
good.
will and I will do it again, and probably will in about an hour's time.
I'm
or
so
not.
happy.
That's how it goes.
I'm so happy.
I was hoping I'd get another round before you called it.
I don't know what I don't know what triggered it. I just thought mostly this was out of sheer like, wouldn't it be awesome if that's what Emily's doing? Don't worry, that was entirely where the vibe came from.
No,
of,
no,
like,
this is fine. This is fine. No, I'm just as pleased by you working out what this is as I would be by going, oh, they don't know what it is.
Yes.
So we will start with let's start with Casey.
I think it's clear that we did get like a shot of Casey rolling out of bed in the first morning sequence, because we need that moment of like
Oh yeah,
like
we do.
hesitation. Checks the date.
Actually, sorry, before you carry on, Casey.
Oh yeah.
See, I've just realised I gave you the wrong thing.
Oh, superb.
My
You
bad.
actually can see through space and time, and you're going to go out and join the Traveler.
Ah, bye. It happens to all of us Crusher types. Spoilers for basically Crusher's fate, but then not fate.
Giving
Spoilers.
you the
20
actual info that you have.
Yes.
Oh,
Carry on.
no, that's even worse.
Yeah, it is. This is why I was like, hang on a minute. No, I set this up.
No, it's not perplexed. It's downright frown. I think we see him kind of like heading to the holodeck in a little bit of a haze. He'll kind of every now and again like stop someone and unpaid extra. They don't get paid for speaking, so it's like,
No.
are you okay? Everything. He'll do his
Kind
climb.
of the extra kind of watches you go down the corridor as you walk kind of towards the camera, shrugs and goes about their day.
He does his climb, like muttering the whole time. Checks the pad. It's the same time. Can't see the same time on a previous record.
No.
Kind of stares at it for a bit. Ends simulation, but this time it's not a frustrated cast the pad down. It's like a no. And then he'll kind of like he'll Starfleet power walk to the bridge. After getting changed out of his sweats.
Mm-hmm.
Looking very troubled.
Okay. Then
Sorry, I have a perfect image. I don't need a scene. I don't need to be involved in it. But Casey is walking to the bridge with his kind of under a bit of a thundercloud, like having a bad time, having a bit of a frown, and just like passing him like in a way that the camera would normally follow, stylistically the camera would follow this other person, but it doesn't, is just Arcady walking past, holding their tea, like humming to themselves exactly as they had done in the previous thing. She's like, yeah, waves at Casey with a kind of, as they go past, nothing is going to stop them from their cheerful good morning to indicate that they are unaffected.
Every time loop episode needs those little things which happen every time.
Absolutely does.
Like it's a morning Casey from Arcady, a raise of the mug, and a slight spill. They go oop in like that fairly nice, cute way every single time. Like that earns them a stare and a frown, and then he's just off in another direction. Yes,
I love it.
I give free rein to whoever else is peering through the veil to develop a mimetic device for Zal. Spoilers: he is completely unaffected.
Spoilers, Mike. God.
I like the idea that Reyes, with her thundercloud, when she walked down past Zal with a kind of and Zal gave her the good morning as they passed, and like
it goes exactly as it did last time. It's clearly refilmed because of different camera angles, but it goes exactly as it did the first time. And now I'm even more committed, now that we're in the time loop, that the engineer who is doing the initial handover and briefing in the morning is Strange, so that Strange can suffer over and over again, having to brief Reyes every morning.
Perfect.
Over and over. And this is just, it's like subtly different, but not materially different as a sequence of events.
Yeah, we're not at this is the go round where we just do what we want.
No. We're not yet, driving down the train tracks level of Groundhog Day.
Golfing through the Stargate. Right. Let's then follow onto the bridge with Casey after a bit of a montage of we see Reyes and Zal go sup in the corridor. We see Borov being just this force of peppy nature down the corridor. They so bright and cheerful, the walls are practically glowing and growing flowers out of them as they go past. They're being that chipper this morning, as they are most mornings, to be honest. But in contrast to Casey's frowning, concentrating demeanor, the peppiness is just thrown into sharp, bright contrast. And we will follow onto the bridge.
Athon is just is the problem is Athon is frowning. Athon was probably frowning last time. Like Athon's not happy.
He'll kind of go to his station, press a few things, kind of hesitate in his duties, look over his shoulder at Captain, Captain.
Captain
Athon.
Damn it, Captain.
Oh, she got that promotion to double captain. Oh,
Double
so
captain.
proud.
Oh, we're all so proud of her.
Is everything as it should be, Captain?
You tell me, Chief Science Officer. She's fucking saying.
Ooh, savage.
I need the fifth time
Dr.
loop to be.
Dr. Burrow to the bridge. We have a Burns patient here.
The fifth time loop is just, is everything as it should be, Captain? Go fuck yourself, Casey.
Get fucked, science boy.
Like she hasn't realized that he can remember between loops too.
There's another time loop. Suck my whole entire dick, Casey.
Like she's outside his door in the morning.
Just punch him in the face.
You'd have thought that I'd be waiting outside Adam Strange's door, but no, I blame you.
No, walks off. Casey will remember that. Flash.
But he's so science boy that she doesn't realise that he
can remember.
remembers.
No, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. That could be next
that's
loop.
five. That's five. We're only on number one.
Yeah.
He'll like that turn around. He'll run through the scans before she asked him to do them.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And he's gonna wait until she begins the request and then just ping them over.
Yeah, you get a frown at that. Like she slightly turns in the chair and looks up and then pauses and like looks back down at the pad. The ship, is it the Krasnikov?
Yes, Captain.
Hail the Krasnikov, Lieutenant Kowalski.
Yes, Captain, of course. And the Krasnikov is hailed. On screen, you have their captain, kind of woman of kind of like average height and build, human, quite dark hair, quite short. And you're speaking to Captain Meredith Dineman. Iskandar.
Krasnikov, I saw you were in the area.
Oh, passing through, are you?
Yes, just en route to Starbase 328. What about yourselves?
Oh, we've got a bit of science work to do in the area, actually. Well, it doesn't have to be in the area, but we've chosen here for doing a bit of an experiment.
Oh, very good. I assume you have everything you need.
Yeah, everything's under control. Just finished a run of it, actually, and it's all looking quite smooth.
Well, if you have such exciting opportunities, we won't take up any more of your time.
Oh, fair enough. Is there a reason for the call, Captain, or...?
Just curious on what you were doing in the area, Krasnikov. Don't mind us.
Fair enough, then. I'll not keep you from your trip to Starbase 328, was it you said?
328.
Lovely spot.
Safe travels, Krasnikov.
And to you, Iskandar.
Iskandar out. And any suspicion, deja vu, frustration that Athan had is just overwhelmed and swept away by this bitterness that by checking in on the Krasnikov, they're doing real work and she's delivering shit to Starbase 328, and thus the curiosity fades, and yeah, she has the ship carry on its present speed and course.
Okay.
I need to lean into, and this is the presence I have with Casey right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go full Watership Down Fiverr.
Wait,
like Fiverr, the seer one, the one that was like,
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not like I'm not gonna bite a rabbit to death.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like when you said goes full water, I was like, what? You just bite Kowalski?
Casey's plan is to get in a Jeffrey's tube and trample everyone to death.
Well, that's one way to address this situation.
No, he's very kind of like drifting and distracted in his movements, and like he's skittish, but not in a frightful way. in like he knows that some things he's trying to like he's trying to remember the lines that he's about to say. I think is the best way to.
Mm-hmm. Do we get any reaction from anybody on the bridge to the science boy being skittish and a bit weird, even by his normal standards?
No, Hassan's in a bad mood, which in my head just manifested as that lower decks bit of Shax's going, don't talk to me, I'm pissed off. So yeah, no, the science boy's being a bit weird, and Hassan has her, I'm really not in the mood for this, but she's not, unless he particularly acts out, she's not gonna call him on it.
I'm not gonna act out until crisis happens.
Okay.
And I'm gonna throw a strop.
Crisis on Infinite Isks.
Damn it, that's what I should have called this. That's what I should have called this. Trying to think what to make you roll here. Let me just have a look. Yeah, Casey, make me a notice check. Just to see if you
Nope.
No. Oh, okay. Okay.
I got a -3.
Okay. You don't get to notice this then. It gets to about midday-ish, and Kowalski kind of goes, Captain, I seem to be picking up an energy signature that's coming this way very quickly.
Yellow alert, shields up. We go flying.
you go flying.
Mm-hmm. Just passing. Yeah, that's obviously gonna. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Asana goes flying, picks herself up, and turns to Casey. The Krasnikov.
Casey has sustained the same dramatic head injury.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, you haven't.
Oh,
Your
shit.
head injury is very slightly different. Everybody else has exactly the same injuries as they had last time. Yours, it was kind of over on this side of your head that you've now got, that you had a bit of blood and a bit of a bruise on. It's now on the other side of your head this time.
Because rather than before, when the red alert came up and Casey was stood at his console trying to get some scans, as soon as Kowalski said coming very fast, Casey immediately began to duck.
Casey kind of started to duck a little because he's like, oh no, it's this.
Like,
and then cracked to the other side of his
possibly
head.
even like crouched by the console rather than kind of slumped against it. Looks at Athan. Droid. He's not looking at his console. Like a warp core. Tachyon pod.
Athanta Reyes. Fuck.
Yes. Gollum.
Athanta Reyes.
Yes, Kath?
Captain, a little bit busy right now. We've got the warp core, which is trying to be a meltdown. I'm attempting to balance out our matter-antimatter flow. Lieutenant, if you eject the warp core if you have to. No, I'm pretty sure that I can handle all this. But Strange, get ready, get right next to the ejection controls. We're going to try to see if we can flood it with any coolant and bring this temperature down. I can save the warp core, Captain. Thumb frowns, pauses. Do your best, Lieutenant.
Once they've signed off on Reyes, because we haven't seen anything of Talandra's daily routine this episode, the door to the bridge opens and Talandra appears, having run to the bridge from where she was before, and arrives looking like the ship didn't just have a bit of a rock, and like is actually like actively running in at action stations.
Oh shit.
which is also sooner because we had an entire sequence last time
We did.
of action in
We did.
engineering. XO, we've got some danger of the warp core possibly being in meltdown. I've told Lieutenant Reyes to do her best, but make ready for an evacuation protocol in case we need to get out of the blast radius.
Indeed, Captain. I shall prepare all non-essential personnel for immediate evacuation.
Very good. Lieutenant Casey, scan the area in the vicinity of the Krasnikov. I want to understand if there was any atmospheric interference, any radiation which might have triggered their warp core explosion, and which might be key information for our engineers to have.
Yes, Captain. Is it?
Give us a science roll. This is either really good or really bad. Oh, the same as we got last time. The dice are in on it. No, you'll get different information this time because you kind of have an idea of what you want to target this time. This time, you're not making your initial scans going, oh, what is this? You've already got the information, at least in your head, that it's a matter antimatter explosion laced with tachyon energy that came from the Krasnikov. So you can target this a bit more this time. So yes, you get all of that information fairly quickly. What you also can get is that in the area around what's left of the Krasnikov, there appears to be some, for what a word, warping of space-time. There are little pockets here and there, all very focused around the Krasnikov, where it's kind of like the kind of readings you get around the wormhole near DS9 sort of thing. There's something ripped there. Not anywhere else around, entirely focused on where the Krasnikov's last known position was, and indeed the center of this shrapnel cloud that is what's left of that ship.
Captain, I'm detecting a spatial anomaly where the Krasnikov once was, like a tear in space itself.
Tear in space. Be theories on possible effect of that?
What immediately springs to mind from my astrophysics?
Difficult to say because all you're looking at is kind of what's left over of the explosion. You haven't seen whether these tears were there before the explosion or whether they appeared afterwards. If they appeared afterwards, then it's likely that these tears have resulted from the intensity of the explosion itself, which would check out with the fact that the Iskandar is, you're not right next to where the Krasnikov was. You're quite far away. You're about to almost leave the system, but you've been hit by this energy wave that's so bad that your own warp core is melting down. If they were there before the explosion, then yes, they could well be what's triggered it. But because you don't have the information of whether they were there before or after,
I will hear that word to the effect of possible to theorize. It really depends on if it's caused by or was the cause of the Krasnikov's explosion.
We'll worry about that once we're secure and away.
Yes, Captain.
And Thumb will look for whatever update she's getting from engineering without calling Reyes because I don't want to.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We'll just cut to engineering.
Yeah.
To be honest. We'll
And
cut to engineering. If it's a coolant problem, you can't get enough coolant in. If it's a matter antimatter problem. You can't regulate the flow enough that this explosion isn't accelerating. The warp core is making a high-pitched whine that is increasing in pitch and volume rather than its usual steady hum. This has got out of control.
Reyes brings up the electromagnetic field control, looks at it for a moment, thinking whether or not she can recalibrate it to be able to bring everything back under control, and then turns to Strange, starts heading towards him, and says, eject it.
Yes, Chief. Puts his hand on the button to eject. Blinding light. Flame. This time we don't zoom out, but we know what's happened. Can everyone make me a will check?
Can I put words in another character's mouth? I really want Casey to just before the flashing light just do something like, oh, just as the light goes off, because he's just in that second twigged what's about to happen, and he's like, oh fuck, and just as it goes off.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I like that.
Also, in the grand tradition of someone about to swear and getting cut off.
Oh yeah.
I know we swear on the show, but for God's sake, Talandra, why?
Like, there's a big old ship explosion to cut the swear off. Like, why not use it?
Where's Al? Oh wait. No, that's Casey's. Casey's was actually better. Al.
What song you were saying? Because you said this thing about a montage of people waking up for a song, and now I've just got "You're the Best" as the montage music, which is definitely not what Reyes is playing, but is now around over and over again.
No, mine was
the one that was in Supernatural.
I think I know what it is.
Heat of the Moment, that was the one in Supernatural. It's the only time loop thing I've seen that I remember where there is a musical montage at the start of every episode where somebody wakes up and goes, oh fuck, not this again. And the other person in the room does not say that because they don't realise that it's a time loop. Okay. Let's see, last time I started with Kath? No, I started with Izzy first and started with Mike. So we'll start with Kath.
Uninspiring. Tharn,
Well,
0.
okay.
Reyes, 1.
Mm-hmm.
Elrod.
Sound like football scores.
Yes.
Reyes 1, Athan 0.
Elrad rained off.
Elrad, 2.
Okay. Sheffield Wednesday
0.
Izzy, give us your football scores.
Commander Talandra 7, Dr. Burov -1.
You're getting better. Like, this is improvement over time.
I'm not going to lie. I forgot the rules of the football, and so I let them score the goal. I wasn't sure how I was supposed to play, and they asked very nicely, and so I decided, Talandra's just like, I have good hand-eye coordination, and I'm good at football.
Speaking of people who aren't good at football, Casey.
Casey 3, Zal 5.
Oh, dang.
Zal.
Go Zal. Okay.
Second loop, Zal realizes there's a problem.
To be fair, Reyes has yet to realise that there's a problem. The chief engineer, who theoretically could be a major factor in changing things.
This is why I have this mechanic. Okay, so what we're going to do then, before we go into our second loop, is I think that this is going to be a good time to go for a quick break. What up? Welcome back to the second part of Star Trek Iskandar. Mike's not actually frozen, he's just pretending to be.
Time loop, get it?
Time loop,
it's the
get
same
it?
thing I did at the start.
So yes, welcome back to the second part of the first session of Hysteresis. The players have worked out that it's a time loop. The characters, less so. Some of them have. Well, some of them had.
Yeah.
Have they worked? Do they know it's a time loop this time around? Let's find out as we go into the next loop. At some point, I'll have the opening speech off by heart, but you know. It is stardate 5739.24, and it's a new day on the Iskandar. The ship is on course for Starbase 328 to pick up scientific supplies to courier to another outpost, and currently carrying non-urgent medical supplies for the Starbase and being a glorified postie. The Iskandar is currently cruising past the 31 Cygni system, and you're set to arrive at the Starbase in about 3 days. Everything is fairly quiet. We won't start with the pounding rock music this time, or the pounding dubstep. We'll instead go for a quieter start to the morning, because we've not seen the morning routines of either our beloved Commander Talandra or of Calav Elrad.
In fact, any of Calav Elrad.
We've not seen Elrad at all, but he is still on the ship.
Which is why, given that we've not seen him at all, I want to start with him.
Yeah, absolutely. So, paint us a picture.
I mean,
How do these lovebirds do mornings?
Very civilian in the mess hall having breakfast, I'd expect.
Scandalous.
Yeah, it's a public breakfast. Gosh.
Steady on.
I haven't had dinner in private yet.
No, they've had mess hall. So yes, it is part of the hustle and bustle of breakfast in the mess hall. There are plenty of people around. They have a table amidst all of the regular business of it in the morning. I feel like inevitably it's an open on one of them discussing something from book club. Like, I think that's inevitable. Even, and I think maybe we're at the latest of Elrad's recommendations as you're going, well, I'd like to suggest that you try Sign of the Burned Hand. I'd have to encourage you to persevere with it. It's a piece of literature which has often been considered somewhat conservative and traditional, but I believe that a critical perspective can indicate possibly some more subversive intentions by Tagen. And I'd be particularly curious on your perspective as someone not completely embedded in the canon of Cardassian literature, Commander. It covers a pair of government officials who represent security for the government at the time. It was written about 300 years ago on a long-distance surface transport with a large number of civilians, and a murder occurs, and the two of them become embroiled in identifying the cause of murder, and needless to say, includes a certain amount of question of people's allegiance to the state. So yes, I am attempting to reevaluate some classic literature from a more critical lens, and so I'd appreciate your view on a piece of work which has often been debated as to its meaning and its Commander.
That has often been debated in its meaning, given that the socio-political climate has changed significantly over the past 45 years, and therefore your relationship with the literature has changed from what was taught when you were a boy to what you know now.
Yes, I suppose that
is exactly what you were about to say.
Talandra, are you quite well?
I may be. Or something terrible may be about to happen. What did we do yesterday?
We yeah, pretty fast. We continued some of the exercise regimes. We discussed some holodeck plans. You needed to retire for some work relatively early, as you had to deal with the logistical arrangements for the ship's cargo. We had a conversation about viewing, visiting holodeck programs on Federation worlds, observing different key locations, and there was some wondering on whether or not we could secure, or if I could secure any decent programs for sites on Cardassia.
I said our breakfast this morning would have to be quick, for
Yes.
I start Alpha shift in approximately 20 minutes. This has occurred before.
We have had breakfast before.
No, this day has occurred before.
I don't understand.
I am not confident that I understand either, Mr. Elrod. However, either I have gained some sort of intensive precognitive powers, or something is affecting the temporal field around where this ship currently travels.
Is this something you should report?
I believe so. I am not looking. However, if you could tell me if Lieutenant Singh drops her coffee in the next 30 seconds.
She doesn't have any coffee. She's getting some coffee from the replicator. And that looked smash.
We must act quickly then.
What do you think is going to happen?
We will make contact with a Starfleet vessel that is performing scientific maneuvers in the area. She stands up, like she's already preparing to stride out.
He's going with.
She's doing the walk and talk. And as she walks up towards habitation, back towards the bridge, she passes by Dr. Burov, who's just come out of habitation and is just coming through the lift. Morning. We will make contact with the Starfleet vessel that is doing scientific maneuvers in the area. There will be a uncertain energy pattern that will strike the ship, potentially from a warp core breach aboard this vessel, which will lead to a total warp core meltdown aboard the Iskandar, which will detonate, killing us all.
Very well, I suppose I have two questions. The first is, what do you believe can be done to avert this? But also, the second, allow me to be skeptical, not necessarily that you are unwell or imagining. However, for instance, I'm aware of the certain telepathic or at least latent psychic capabilities of Vulcans. Is there any possibility that you are picking up something off the crew, which would still certainly be a miss, but not necessarily a temporal incident?
While it's certainly not impossible that whatever psychic ability, that whatever telepathic ability my people possess might be affecting me in certain ways, I've reason to believe that that could possibly impact my ability to accurately predict everything that you intend to say, but not the accidental behaviors of the people around me.
Yes.
Also, I believe in the sanctity of one's own mental state. I have never in my life instigated a mind meld or anything approaching it, and cannot think what could have possibly triggered such a reaction in me and not be noticeable to me.
I understand, but either way, no matter what, it seems as if we are dealing with some extenuating circumstances.
Indeed. It is not a possibility that I will take off the table, however. I still believe at the moment that it is more likely that we are being affected, that something is affecting the ship and not just me. However, should I be acting more erratically than one might expect from the circumstance, you must tell me immediately.
I do not believe you are being more erratic than the circumstances warrant based upon your assessment.
Thank you. I understand that being told that we are imminently facing death must be quite unsettling.
It's being suggested that we are imminently facing a repeating death that is unsettling, Commander.
Indeed, but at least one that perhaps may be avoided. As she walks towards as they leave the turbo lift and walk towards the bridge, she will Talandra to Linkovich.
Yes, Commander. How can I help?
Prepare the initial. Can't think of any of the words. Initial. Thingamies. Talandra has lost all her words. Oh no! Now it's time to panic. Prepare the initial 2 stages of evacuation protocol Alpha.
Yes, of course, Commander. Are we expecting an evacuation imminently?
Stand by for potential instructions, Ensign.
Aye, Commander.
She walks onto the bridge. Captain, a word in your ready room, if I may.
Of course. I guess Elrad's coming too.
Yeah.
And I think, given that, like, the way things are being cut aboard the ship,
I feel like
is Casey on the bridge?
Yeah, Casey went to the bridge, so I feel like what happens at that point, as Talandra, Athan, and Elrad go into the ready room, that's when Casey arrives on the bridge.
Mm-hmm. Then I think Talandra and Casey will make eye contact that is quite neutral in her stance, but will cause quite a frown from Casey because this is different.
No. Talandra and Casey will make eye contact. He will dip his head and say Commander and go to his console.
Fascinating. And then the door will swish as they move to the ready room, and like in that cut, it will finish with Talandra, because this episode can get repetitive real quick.
Yeah, it can.
Talandra standing with her hand behind her back and saying, which is why I have every reason to believe, Captain, that the ship is facing imminent destruction.
Very well, Exa. Let's, at the very least, take some deviations from our course, because I think, at worst, we will lose little time, which is hardly urgent.
I shall remain at your side, Captain, and instruct you if anything feels as if it is the same.
Please do. Yeah, Tharn will step out. Helm, what's our present bearing on the 31 Sigma station? Sigmite system.
Current bearing is, and can sort of reel off a bearing. Currently traveling at warp 4, Captain.
Set us a course to give half light years birth of 31 Cygni.
Aye, Captain. Of course.
Lieutenant Casey,
Anything in particular we're trying to avoid?
Nothing I'm sure of just yet. Lieutenant Casey, can you detect the USS Krasnikov on sensors?
I'm detecting a Starfleet vessel. I haven't had it confirmed to be the Koreshnikov.
You can very easily confirm that it is in fact the USS Krasnikov.
Oh, it seems you're right, Captain.
Yes, I thought they were in the area.
Captain, with
So?
I really can't brain at the moment. Captain, as I said, they are performing some sort of scientific experiment. It may well be the cause of what is occurring. If it is possible at all to encourage them to put their experiments on hold.
Lieutenant Kowalski, please hail the Krasnikov.
Aye, Captain, of course. And the Krasnikov is hailed, and on screen you have Captain Diamond again. Iskandar, how can I help?
Good morning, Krasnikov. Captain Diamond. How are your operations in the region proceeding?
Proceeding quite smoothly, actually. Yourself, what are you up to in this neck of the woods?
Heading for Starbase 328. Everything
lovely place.
Everything is perfectly routine on that front. You're conducting some experimentations in the region?
Yes, we are. How do you know that?
Spotted rumor mill. I heard that you had something a little bit more exciting going on.
Yes, I suppose rumors are going to get out, aren't they? And somebody's doing something a bit interesting.
Forgive me for being nosy, but I'm just being nosy. We don't have a lot going on over here.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough.
So is there anything we can help you with?
Not especially at the moment. Everything seems to be going all right with our work here. Just finished a run, actually, of tests, and everything is looking fairly standard.
There is a beat in Athan's hesitation where she then just glances to Landra and then looks back to the Krasnikov. Captain, if you'll forgive me if this is going to sound a bit odd, we have some apprehensions or concerns about the experiments you're conducting.
Oh? What might these be?
Would you indulge me on elaborating on what you're up to?
I could certainly give you the basics. For the full rundown, you'd have to talk to my chief science, or my chief engineer. But it's a experimental drive of a sort. Nothing too complicated. We're not, doing anything too wild. Just what if warp cores could go a bit faster? Science says that she could get it so it's almost instantaneous travel across most of the galaxy if she can get it going really well. I think she might be exaggerating a touch, but don't tell her I said that.
I wouldn't dream.
You definitely don't tell her I said that, Mackenzie.
We're having some apprehensions of some possible space-time anomalies which might occur as a result. Have you had any reason in your readings to suggest any possible side effects of that ilk?
Certainly nothing that's come up in previous trips we've made.
Yeah, so it has been you've conducted several successful.
Yes,
jumps.
Nothing, too long distance. It's why we've chosen round here. It gives us 2 points to work off of for something to center around with having the 2 stars. We haven't done too many of them. What's this? Our fourth run we've just done.
Captain, might I ask you to conduct a little more, when I say a little more thoroughness, I don't mean at all to suggest that you've not been conducting any thoroughness. We have crew members aboard who are having recollections of events that have not yet transpired, which would suggest that you may be heading towards a disaster.
Really?
Hence, I said space-time fluctuations occurring.
That is interesting. Care to elaborate?
The possibility that your ship will explode, and as a result, the Iskandar would be caught in the blast.
I
understand. I know it sounds outlandish. However,
Why?
if you are if you are also conducting something which is dealing with the folding of space and instantaneous travel, then temporal fluctuations are hardly beyond the realm of possibility. And whilst I'm well aware you might think right now that I am peddling even more outlandish theories, I would rather you think I'm a little bit foolish or weird than I kept my counsel and possibly watched your ship explode because I didn't want to look stupid.
Make me a report check.
I don't love it. I don't love it.
It's also the thing you're supposed to be good at.
Yeah, no, but like a thon is not. I almost feel like if disadvantage were a thing, I'd almost
Athon trusts Talandra, but
hates this.
Diamond has never met you before.
No, and the dice reflect this.
Oh shit!
I don't eat shit, but that's a -3 on the dice, so that's 2.
Okay. Oh, that
poor is Athon's thing.
Yeah. That's why I was thinking, like, you probably got this right.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Well, I can certainly get Commander Aras to conduct a few scans of the area and see what's happening. But let's say we've just done our 4th run. I'd be rather surprised, surely, if anything was going to go wrong, it would either have gone wrong on the first one or the first one when we tried to push it a little bit further. And we've mostly just been hopping from one side of the system to the other.
Of course, if it's all been within the same system, possibly check any subspace damage, possibly. If there's been any strain on subspace filaments, that I don't know. I'm not either my chief engineer or my chief science officer. But I won't tell you how to do your job anymore, Captain. I just thank you for hearing me out. I'd appreciate if you double check some numbers, double check some scans, and thank you for your time.
Thank you for the warning, I suppose, Captain Athon.
Understand this is not ideal. Thank you, Captain. We'll give the system a bit of a wide berth, stay out of your way, make sure that we're not the problem.
By all means, enjoy your trip to Starbase 328.
Of course, Captain. Good day. Iskandar out.
Good day.
So that's all we can do, XO, is trust them to do their own jobs.
Talandra, make an empathy check.
Yeah, Talandra can make an empathy check. On who?
On the captain of the Krasnikov.
Okay.
It's Captain Krasnikov like, that's nice, you crazy fuck up. Pat.
That's nice. I've heard of you lot.
Yeah.
I know what you're like. Well, we'll see.
This is what your chief engineer is like. Mine's not like that.
That is a +8.
Dang!
Empathy is Talandra's highest stat. People are her thing.
Sure, you know Meredith Diamond's innermost thoughts and secrets. Yeah, from that you can get the well, what are you trying to ascertain actually? Like
it's basically trying to get the nuance between yeah, we'll make sure to do a couple more checks, and didn't consider that, we'll do some more checks. Like,
okay.
I don't think she's blowing us off, but it's about whether they go, those safety checks we do, run them a few more times, and let's rethink our approach on this one, because there could be a situation we haven't thought of.
Yeah. So like from her attitude, what you get then is that like she doesn't completely believe what Athana's just told her, which is not surprising given that basically you've just appeared and said, by the way, your ship's about to explode, like a weird space Cassandra. So she hasn't completely bought what she's just been told, but you get the impression that the way she's going to go about things with her own crew is go, it won't hurt. Run the test, just run a check just in case. They're probably not right, but if they are, then oh well, maybe we'll do something about it.
Talandra's then going to do a couple of things. One, she is going to look at Kalev Elrad to see how he's handling the fact that Talandra is very clearly not reacting to this situation because she doesn't do facial expressions very much.
He's watching her. Like, he's gone stoic and is watching. He's gone.
I'm trying to do stoic micro expressions.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to twig what their vibe is.
His vibe is concern. Is yeah. He is watching her. His concern is on her, and rather than necessarily, oh no, this situation might not be unfucked, his concern is basically trying to see if she's mollified, and if she isn't, what happens now is his. It's not taking her seriously, but he is a bit apprehensive of like, yeah, it's her focus, not situation focused.
Feel free to not answer.
Mm-hmm.
What's the split? Like 60-40, 50-50 between his concern for the potential situation and his concern for Talandra's mental health?
He's a bit, it's more on the concern for her because, like, so far as he's concerned, people have tried to do a thing about what she wanted. And if she thinks that's not okay and not enough, that might be that might be a problem. So it's 60-40, 70-30 on Talandra concern.
That's then at least 30%. My girlfriend might be crazy. Cool. Talandra will incline her head to the captain, who has finished with this situation, and Talandra will, even if Talandra thought Athana had done something utterly mental, she would never tell her off in front of the crew because the fuck. She'll go, if you'll excuse me for a moment, Captain, and she will rise, pull her adjust her uniform and go to her ready room.
Mm-hmm. I guess Elrad's gonna be like certainly having a certain amount of vibe check at her, and unless there is a serious like, nope, fuck you, he's gonna go with.
She isn't responding because she's busy.
Yeah.
But she's going to go to her ready room and she's going to go to her console and begin like whatever the protocol is for making contact with a Starfleet vessel. I don't know what it is because I know that we can communicate with other Starfleet vessels without going via their bridge. So it's possible, but I don't know how. But I guess Talandra's going to do it.
Yeah. Commander.
And having reached the communications panel that is like the ops board of this ship, she will go, Commander Ares, please.
Noises happen like the phone's ringing.
Bung, 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 bung.
Okay, no, I was thinking Rad was going to say something before.
he like He was gonna, but I wasn't sure what words were gonna come out.
So he literally does the.
Yeah.
And then the phone is picked. I can't think of a better description
Yes.
for this.
The connection is made.
The connection
A
is
face
made.
appears on screen.
A face appears on screen.
Now,
This is Commander Priyanka Raros. Who am I speaking to?
my question is, Roomba, if she is a commander who is.
Oh, Lieutenant Commander. She is same rank as Talandra.
But if she's a lieutenant commander who's working on experimental science, likely she might be known of. Does Talandra know of or know this officer?
I'm trying to remember what Talandra's fields of interest are in science shit.
In science shit, in science shit, it is astrometrics and make ship good.
Make ship good. Okay.
She's a pilot. Her focus is getting places well.
Okay, yeah, you've probably heard you have probably heard of Priyanka Raros then.
Okay. Commander Aras, this is Lieutenant Commander Talandra, First Officer of the USS Iskandar.
Nice to speak to you. How can I help?
I understand that you are currently working on a method by which to improve and increase the capacity of warp drive aboard Starfleet vessels.
Yeah, that's correct.
I understand that whilst this is an experimental stage, you have successfully completed 4 jumps with your ship's current system.
You follow me work pretty closely.
Not as close as I would like. Commander, I was wondering if you would allow me to look at some of the preliminary science of what you've been working on. It is my special field of scientific interest, and given my position as a first officer, I think it would be enlightening to have a handle on the science. I'm aware that it is not standard, but I would consider it a professional courtesy.
Oh yeah, I can certainly send you across some of the preliminary data, but I'm gonna have to ask. This is a hell of a sudden call to be going. Can I have a look at some of your data? And
Indeed.
for you to know that we've just done our 4th jump, we did that yesterday evening. So if you don't mind me asking, what's prompted this call?
A conversation that I and my captain just had with Captain Diamond.
I see. Right. This is about the concerns that the ship's going to blow up because of some temporal anomaly that you've heard about and are apparently going through yourselves.
The ship has experienced significant temporal anomalies, correct? And it would do much to assuage my concerns if I could look at some of the preliminary data.
Yeah, no, of course I can certainly send you across preliminary data, especially if you'll send me across. What evidence have you got that my ship is about to blow up and take yours out the sky?
I have seen it.
Right, so can you send across the video footage?
I have seen it with my brain.
Right.
I experienced the events as if they were yesterday.
Of course. Like I said, do you have any evidence you can send across? I'll still send you across preliminary data. I'm more than happy for you to have a look at the work I've been doing, but
What was it Casey said yesterday about tachyon anomalies? Because
that was in the energy wave.
That was it. That was in the energy wave from the explosion. That it was like a warp core, but like it had always been intensified with tachyon energy.
Tachyon intensification is what.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You said something slightly more scientific than just was tachyons, though, and I don't know, probably. And Talandra.
No, he's not here to defend himself.
And Talandra, being a Vulcan, has memories for certain, phrases and things. So she will state in approximately.
It's probably about 2.5 hours.
In approximately 2.5 hours, your vessel will be destroyed, and a tachyon wave will, and a wave of energy will strike our vessel, affecting our warp core with a combination of these energies at about this intensity.
Mm-hmm.
Given where we will be at that point, it will have traveled X distance and taken approximately X period of time. If this in any way tallies with the data that you have before you, if this in any way tallies with the data that you are working with or the energies that you are tapping into, then that is the only factual evidence that I can deliver. Everything else is merely my own experiences, although I assure you I am not prone to flights of fancy.
No, and I never said you were, but so I like my observations to be backed up with data. Speaking
understand.
of, you should have just received something of an overview of the drive that we're working with and some preliminary outputs from our last run. Anything else, Commander?
No, Commander. I am confident that, given my potential warnings and your reinvigorated focus on the safety of your experiment, then this conversation is likely unnecessary. I hope we do not have to have it again.
Is that Talandra just putting the phone down?
She'll say Talandra out or Iskandar out, and then like break the connection.
Okay. This is I
forgot Elrad's in the room.
Yeah, Elrad's witnessed the entire thing. I also think Elrad is operating we didn't have to put up with this shit in the Cardassian Union. This is some Starfleet bullshit. Everyone's reliving the same day over and over. That's just a thing that happens in Starfleet. We don't do that in the Cardassian Union. We get stuck in the time loop and we die.
Yeah. Yes. Also, nothing interesting happens in the Cardassian Union unless it's a war atrocity. Catch up, Caleb.
Yeah. We don't look at things with scientific curiosity. We blow it up or we die. Okay.
Yeah. Nothing interesting happens in the Cardassian Union. Oh, that's not fair. How many of those interesting things were the deaths of thousands? Fair point.
800 people who were interesting die every day on Bajor under the occupation.
Hey, once there was a plague and we cured it. Only 500 people died and the rest were simply maimed. Talandra, unless Caleb says something, is immediately beginning to go through the data.
You know what? I think he's going to leave. He will watch her for a moment. And then he's gonna go, like, if she needs him, that's fine. But he's not a scientist.
Allowed.
I'm just gonna Elrad.
Mr. Elrad.
Commander.
Talandra doesn't stop reading. She's aware she has 2 hours to commit this to memory. She reaches for another pad and presses a few buttons to indicate file transference or whatever. And we'll hand it over to him and say, would you please deliver this into the care of Lieutenant Casey? Thank you.
Of course. Why?
I wish for him to study it. Tell him I will be interested to hear his thoughts within the hour.
Very well. He gives just the slightest and goes.
And remember, I don't need the technical know-how, but Talandra is basically, her current thinking is, I'm not confident that ship is going to do anything really all that different.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to continue with the idea that I will continue remembering this, and I'm going to read all of this, commit it to memory, and hopefully find a way to solve it the next time around.
Okay.
She's being unsettlingly pragmatic.
Okay.
Yeah, Elrad will return to the bridge, head to the science console.
Boy, your mum says read this. You're not my real dad.
Lieutenant, Commander Talandra has secured further data on the Krasnikov and requests that you review the information provided.
Thank you.
She'll expect your thoughts within the hour. Is there a problem, Lieutenant?
No, I'm just sure I've heard that name before.
There are only so many ships in Starfleet.
True. I'm going to read this conspiracy theory.
Gives him the pad. Do a bit more bridge lurking this time because kind of Elrad has some concerns.
Yeah, I bet he does. He's got to go back into the ready room and find that Sarge's got the pinboards and the string out.
It's worth noting for the layout of the bridge that there's the console that Talandra usually goes to. He is quite welcome to go and stand at that console because if there's a situation, Talandra's not going out. Because I imagine this is quite complex science and she only has 2.5 hours to memorize it. And Vulcans have great memories, but I'm not just going to be
this. And this is complex stuff. This is getting deep into the mathematical weeds.
Yeah, and while this is an area that she's got experience in, I'm saying that allows her to even get this in 2 hours.
Yeah.
Rather than
in an hour, it's time to understand the whole new possible means of propulsion that they're experimenting on the Krasnikov. Everybody get ready to understand quantum slipstream in 5 seconds.
Have you brushed up on your 5-dimensional Navier-Stokes equations?
Caleb Elrad is absolutely just have a pad. Don't ask me questions. Jock out.
Thanks. It's the jock boyfriend and his super prep girlfriend that's like, I need Adderall. I have to study for an exam in 2.5 hours or the world ends. No, Caleb, I don't have time to go and get pizza. Don't you understand? I'm on the yearbook committee.
So while Talandra memorizes the nerdiest yearbook in the world, Casey, you've just been handed a pad of stuff and told thoughts in an hour.
It's also likely he's not allowed to look at it because it's almost certainly security locked to commanders and lieutenant commanders and higher because it's probably pretty classified. And she's just gone, no, that's fine. Go read it.
Kobayashi Maru, I got it. It's happening again. A simulation.
No, that's the other sad boy who thinks that all the time. Some of it is stuff that would have been security locked off. Some of the fairly basic stuff, you can see it wasn't held behind a code wall or anything like that, but the more detailed stuff, and especially the stuff that is data from the recent run of the Krasnikov, that was locked off with security, and Talandra has just gone, yeah. The boy can read this.
Cool. What a treat.
Oh, Mum says I can watch an 18 tonight. Oh, don't.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch something really violent.
God, don't tell me, Fawn. This is good. It's just God, I hope a ship fucking blows up because Talandra's just demanded experimental research off the Krasnikov and then given classified information to Lieutenant Casey.
I mean, Talandra's gone away, and Athan has definitely heard Elrad go, here's some notes. The commander wants your thoughts within the hour.
Yes. I think for the moment,
this is all happening on the bridge.
Athan is for the moment leaving this. Let's let right now. I think Athan knows full well that if Talandra came away from her conversation with Diamond and has still continued to look into this, a thumb going to her right now is not really going to achieve anything.
Okay.
Let's at least see what comes of this.
Okie dokie. Casey, give us a science roll for working out what the fuck this is.
5.
5 whole science. Good boy. Yeah, this is some intense stuff. This is some very heavily mathematical stuff. Most of this isn't words. Most of it is just like reams of equations. But from like there's comments on it here and there, and some explanations as to what it is you're looking at. So after a lot of study, you can work out what this is. And what this is. So what Commander Aros has done is she started off with a warp core, and she's found a way to almost laser focus it. And in the same way that when you laser focus light, it increases in intensity, so has happened for the warp field. And by setting a point in space to travel to and narrowing the focus of that warp field so much, the classical explanation for in fact, give me a sec. Classical explanation for a wormhole, where you have the piece of paper.
Yeah.
This is space. That's your wormhole. Now imagine that you've put an elastic band on that pen, so that you stretch it, and then you let go, and twing, next thing you know, you are on the other side of the galaxy, if that's where you put it. So it massively accelerates. It doesn't create a wormhole. It's still using warp mechanics as you understand them, but it's doing very esoteric things with it, such that you get not actual instantaneous travel, but damn near it.
Cool. I'm gonna go see Talandra. Commander.
Yes, Lieutenant.
The files that you sent me were alarming and fascinating. One of the precursors to our knowledge of warp and a lot of how we explain black holes is essentially of folding space. In its essence, it looks like this is an attempt to kind of replicate the folding space aspect of a black hole, but using a hyper-focused energy pulse from its warp core as a sort of somewhere between a projectile and an elastic propulsion from one point to another, essentially bypassing the limitations of warp as we know it. If it's pulled off successfully, it will be near instantaneous travel from point to point.
What would you say were the risks to the vessel and all vessels nearby?
Oh, countless. Beyond measure. Putting a warp core under this kind of hard stress is completely unheard of, and it's only within the realms of theoretical warp core capabilities.
Should it have successfully been performed a number of times, what are the chances of it going wrong?
The statistics would remain the same unless there is any deterioration to the mechanics of it. So unless there was a significant degradation of the warp chamber, for instance.
Or is it potentially that each time before there was a similar chance of failure and no amount of practice or previous experiment could avoid the potential risk that something would happen, and it is simply luck?
Luck would have it, yes.
In approximately 1 hour and 17 minutes, a device such as this will be utilized on the other side of the system, potentially destroying the vessel and destroying the Iskandar.
I feel like this has happened before.
It has.
Has.
You are not incorrect.
This exact thing.
Not this conversation. I have taken steps to try and alter the unfortunate destruction of our vessel in the Krasnikov.
See.
However, you are not incorrect that the last time I experienced this, the ship and all aboard it were destroyed. It is my hope that by encouraging the Krasnikov to be more cautious this time, we will avoid that fate. But if we detect an energy wave from the destruction of a Starfleet vessel's warp core in 1 hour and 16 minutes, then there will be nothing that will protect this ship. It will rip away our shields and our warp core will go critical.
Okay. Are they likely to listen to those?
The captain spoke to their captain, and I have spoken with their chief science officer, which is where I received this data. However, it is somewhat far-fetched for a stranger, Starfleet officer or no, to call you unannounced and instruct you that your up until now successful experiment is going to kill you both. I understand her skepticism.
Yes.
It is somewhat heartening, Lieutenant, that you are so quick to believe me.
Well, in the realms of what makes theoretical sense, this makes perfect theoretical sense.
My question, therefore, should either of us remember this if the worst should happen, what can we do to stop it?
Therein lies a fascinating perspective. If we are capable of remembering the steps that were undertaken in the previous iteration, if, for instance, this communique from captain to captain and from yourself to their chief engineer doesn't go as planned, we may have infinite opportunity to try again.
Or we have only a few more opportunities before the temporal field in this region are irrevocably destroyed, leading to potentially catastrophic consequences for both us and the system.
In that case, we would need to monitor and best remember between occurrences that there has been, or look for signs of damage prior to the detonation. I should begin a scan.
Thank you. Commander Iris has expressed that what she will respond to the best is hard facts and logic. Therefore, we must come with evidence should this occur again.
I understand. All right, go do a scan.
Go do some scans. Give us a science check.
I am going to be looking at where the ship's going to be in the time frame that Talandra has stated, and looking for any signs of what I would anticipate kind of damage of that kind of detonation Basically, I want to see if this is pushing forward in times and leaving damage, which would indicate that there's only a finite number of loops if that's what's happening. Or alternatively, if it's looking like it's completely clean space and there's no damage, then everything is infinite.
Right. Well, conveniently, that where the ship's going to be is also where the ship is. So you could just do a scan of the area where the USS Krasnikov currently is.
I got an 8.
Bloody hell. Right. With an 8, you can have. Yeah, this is what you can have. So you're looking for evidence of spatiotemporal damage to the area around the Krasnikov itself, and any kind of stray energy fields that might be in the area that might potentially trigger something of an explosion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You find all of that.
Oh no.
Yeah. So there is some evidence of damage to space-time in and around the vicinity of the Krasnikov. It's not massive, and unless you were really looking for it, you wouldn't have noticed it. But because that's the thing that you're focused on, and because you got an 8, you're able to pick that up. That there are just little kind of ripples in subspace, discontinuities, and other signs of currently looking like quite minor damage to the area around the Krasnikov. You can also see from your scans that there's a kind of temporal heat signature around the ship. Doesn't look like something, because it's a temporal heat signature. And because of the information you have about how this drive works, you can get an idea of how long that heat signature has been there and what its behavior would be expected to be like going forward. And it looks like that has been around for hanging around the ship for a while, almost like something's cooling down rather than like something's heating up. But also with an 8. So you perform the scans and you get, yes, the signs of space-time damage. There's signs of an odd energy signature around the engines that you would not find around a normal warp engine. You're about to package all this information up to pass it off to Talandra to go, these are my findings. And you have a closer little look at the space-time damage as you're about to send the information off. And you compare it with what it was like when you performed the scan initially, when you started this little examination. And the damage has got very slightly, but distinctly worse.
Mm-hmm.
There is your information that you have.
Go see
In fact,
oh no!
As you go to Talandra with this, no, yeah, we'll do it like this. You go to Talandra with your information and hand it over to her. The two of you are about to you're about to launch into the explanation of this is this, and we've also got this over here, and point out these are the significant findings from this scan. When Lieutenant Kowalski pipes up, Captain, we're being hailed by the Krasnikov.
On the screen, and like a thumble key for making sure that Talandra, like, return to the bridge, everyone. Like, but yeah, on screen.
Fun.
Captain Diamond.
So you were talking about temporal anomalies.
Yes.
Suggesting we do some initial scans. Or
Yes.
extra scans, rather. I think we should talk then, because I've just had one of my engineers do a scan, and he's picked up something that matches. Well, doesn't quite match, obviously, because our ship's still here and so's yours, but there's certainly something amiss.
I would expect it to not exactly match. If we didn't think something was going on, we wouldn't have contacted you. So, by all means, happy
It
to talk,
seems your
Captain.
story checks out, or at least some elements of it do. Also, my science officer would like to have more of a chat with your XO to follow up on the conversation that they apparently had.
Dude, don't grass.
Nope, she's gonna grass.
I'm sure that's very
Seems
possible.
like they should talk a bit more about their mutual interest, since you seem to almost know more about our ship than we do.
Considering there's a very real possibility that at least some of us are conscious of reliving the same events, then I think that some of us do know it better. Let's talk, Captain.
Yes, let's. And as she says, yes, let's, there's a little static flicker on the screen. And we'll end there for tonight. Ladies, gentlemen, envies, that has been the first session of Hysteresis.
Oh no.
Ooh,
Time loops!
love it. I'm glad it was Talandra.
That was
Also,
very
I'm not,
good.
I'm not glad it was Talandra because she's like,
It's fine. I thought I might not remember that you went behind a back next loop. Who knows?
Yeah. Also, I thought about the conversations that your XOs had with my chief science officer. I thought I might be like, what the fuck, Talandra? But so far as anyone else is concerned, she's going to be like, yes.
Yeah.
And I was saying at the break of, I'm really glad that Athan is in such a foul fucking mood for not being not wanting to poke too much into the Krasnikov because she's bitter and not being inclined to listen to anyone's shit. Because if this had been Casey who'd been like, Captain, we're in a time loop, she would have been like,
Shut up, science boy.
Yeah.
Get in the airlock.
Yes. But
wait, so we're in a time loop, so you won't remember this.
But when it's Talandra who's
Oh,
like,
but I did remember the previous loop.
Captain, shit be real, yo. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
when the
don't
Vulcan
like
says it, you know it's serious.
I don't like it, but
Talandra still experiences, though, the fact that basically Elrad and Athan are the two people who trust her judgment, but go, the fuck?
trust but verify
Like
is
we're keeping in our heads, she might be mental. It's just worth bearing in mind that she might be mental. And then Casey's like, a time loop? Heck, I'll get on that.
I feel, well, I think the bad thing is that clearly Athan is more supportive in this than Elrad is, but in Elrad's defense, he didn't have to put up with shit like this in the Cardassian Union. It is entirely based off
Listen, we didn't have to put up with shit like this in the Cardassian Union. We'd have just died like Cardassian.
Yeah, you just die like soldiers. It's fine. Yeah, that is a large portion.
But in the Cardassian Union, did you have to experience dying over and over and over and over and over again?
Metaphorically, yes.
I mean, yeah, he was in a Cardassian prison.
Sure, but I might be wrong, but I'm fairly sure Cardassian prisons don't include time loop deaths.
I need to express my love for Caleb Elrad through the words of a watcher of this show who, upon the interaction between Elrad and Casey, sent me this message. I don't understand literally any of this, but I'm going to run your messages and bring you tea. Your science son needs the router password.
He didn't love being sent as a messenger boy.
It's important that he is aware that Talandra is a thoughtful, sensitive, intelligent woman, but also when shit is real, she is more fucking Vulcan than it's possible to be. And she is like, the ship's going to be destroyed in 2.5 hours. If you wanted me to ask you nicely, then be a scientist and you could have stayed here with me.
Doing it, he's just not going to like it very much.
Oh, you probably won't remember.
But
And if you do, you'll remember
Maybe
it was
he will.
important. And if he does, he'll remember that it was important.
If he does remember, then he'll remember that she's right, is, you know, the key factor there.
Either he doesn't remember that she was terse with him, or he does and goes, I'd have been pretty terse too if I'd lived through that the first time around. Well done, darling.
So yeah, glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying watching you figure this out.
Remember, I'm very glad that you're running the time loop episode because you've got just the right goblin brain for it.
Like, I've been like, since it got to the point where I was like, no, I'm gonna run this next, and I was like, no, I'm gonna run you the time loop episode next, and had the will mechanic worked out. I was like,
Yes.
I'm looking forward to their little faces when I tell them to roll will checks before anything's even happened.
Yeah, didn't
And
approve.
you delivered.
Didn't approve.
Warmed my goblin heart with your distrust and unease.
I need to give you more information on that fucking book as well now, is he? Because I know what the Sign of the Burned Hand is as a story. So I need to give you the Sign of the Burned Hand as a story.
I've begun the notes in
I couldn't find. Thank you for sending me the link. I couldn't find the Google Doc.
Yeah, no, I added it. I shall continue adding my notes to it because I'm a dork and I ship these two.
I ship it as well. I very much enjoyed that they got a scene in this, and in fact got quite a lot of scene. Yes, good. But yeah, so jump in if this isn't the case, but I think we're back next week. Yeah, we're back next week, folks.
Yeah.
So yeah, feel free to come along, join us for part 1 of Hysteresis next week.
Nice. Like it.
Michael, you need to have this needs to be part 1A, and then the next one needs to be part 1B.
No, it's all part 1. It's all just part 1.
Look, I enjoyed the joke, but
Yeah,
for ease of searching.
Yeah. But for sanity's sake, for you lot watching, it's part 2. For these 3, I don't care about their sanity. It's part 1.
That's fair.
They can have part 1 again.
Love it.
Excellent. Good work. Enjoyed that.
Yes, good.
Baller.
Izzy, do we have anything to add or say your other channel stuff?
Carry on.
I'm just the gremlin.
Be gay, do crimes. Or be crimes, do gay. Your choice.
Both mottos I'm sure we could all get behind. So, bye,
Bye,
folks.
folks.